Hello again, guys. This week I want to do a little roundup type video. You could say the latest. So we shot a wedding recently and it brought back some old memories of dual wielding cameras. I actually had two A7S Mark IIIs, one on the gimbal, one on the camera strap. It's like my classic setup from 2019 and I was really happy with the results from doing it again and I kind of missed it. So there'll probably be more of that coming soon. I have the Sony A1 coming in about a week, so I am very excited about that. But the primary focus of this video is to talk about the new firmware update for the Sony a7S Mark III, and that includes Picture Profile 11 s-cinetone. That's right, you get the picture profile now that used to be reserved for only Sony's filmmaking cameras. So if you're new to Sony cameras, Sony has the Alpha division that's in charge of the Sony a7S, a7R, a7 III, all of those different cameras fall under the Alpha division. Basically, mirrorless photography hybrid cameras. You also have the Sony filmmaking division that does cameras like the FX6, FX9, now the new FX3, and until recently, s-cinetone was only reserved for those higher end filmmaking cameras. But now the Sony a7S Mark III as well as the Sony A1 include the s-cinetone picture profile. Now, what is it? Why is it useful? It's basically a baked-in look that is really great if you send this footage off to an editor and you don't necessarily want to trust them with color grading your S-Log, or if you're doing YouTube content, stuff that needs to be turned quickly, you'll have something that looks stylized and great right out of camera. The rap Sony's got for the past several years is that the colors are bad, it takes a lot of work in post to get the colors to look right. That is not the case with the most recent generation of Sony 10-bit video cameras like the a7S Mark III, A1, FX9, FX6. These cameras all have great colors and S-Log3 is very simple to use. But I want to take you guys on a little vlog style video. We're going to shoot some s-cinetone and then we're going to come back here, we're going to review the footage and we're going to see if it's something we want to use. Okay, so the agenda for today is to run some errands, but then also just to enjoy the nice weather. It is like 75 in Texas, which is just completely ideal. You guys know we had that crazy winter storm a couple weeks ago. It was absolutely insane. The craziest part about it though is that about a week after it was already in the mid 60s and then now it's mid 70s. So Texas weather is the most random thing ever, but yeah, that was a once in a lifetime type of thing. So we've got to sharpen my skates today, my hockey skates, and then we are going to head off into Dallas and we're going to try and get some cool photos, get some cool videos, and enjoy the day. So far shooting with s-cinetone, the biggest adjustment coming from shooting an S-Log3 is just figuring out how to expose. Because with S-Log3, I'm constantly slightly overexposing the image to raise that noise floor so we're not having a noisy image. It is a bit of an adjustment going to a look straight out of camera where you're not going to manipulate a lot of things after the fact. But aside from that, I really do like the way it's looking on the back of the camera. The dynamic range doesn't seem to be a big problem for this type of shooting. We'll see. We'll see if I use it instead of S-Log3. So like I said, there's some common misconceptions with Sony colors and specifically shooting log, and a lot of that comes from shooting log wasn't really viable on cameras like the a7S Mark II and the a7 III because they didn't have 10-bit color, so the image would kind of fall apart when you put it through a grade. But when you have a camera that shoots 10-bit color, S-Log3 really is very simple to convert to Rec. 709. It's very simple to grade, and I think overall S-Log3 is the better picture profile versus s-cinetone. But s-cinetone is great when you're working collaboratively with other editors or when you want to turn something quick and you don't want to process the colors of your image. Okay, so the last thing I want to test, not necessarily a low light test, but let's call it more of a underexposure type scene test, because I know a lot of people that say, oh, I shoot S-Log3 but not in low light situations. So we're gonna get a difficult scene going here, and we're gonna see how s-cinetone stacks up to S-Log3 for this. So after looking at the footage, final thoughts? Well, I think that it's a great second option to S-Log3. There are some circumstances that I could see myself wanting to go towards s-cinetone, especially if it's a project I want to turn quickly. Sometimes I shoot weddings and maybe I have a big backlog and I want the project to turn quicker, so maybe that's a good scenario where s-cinetone would look great. But I think in regards to my day-to-day, I'm going to stick with S-Log3 as the main picture profile that I use. Let me know what you guys think. If you've shot with s-cinetone or S-Log3, which one do you prefer? And I'll see you in the next video.